Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and look, it's Austin the Day Ghost. It's time for, once again, the vast and ominous comic vault, and it was Austin's turn to pick, so we are finishing up the latter half of Daniel Warren Johnson's Skybound Transformers run, and this is kind of a record for us, Austin, reviewing something here that just finished up like 2 months ago. Like, we're reading an issue that or we're talking about an issue tonight that I bought like 3 months ago and hadn't read yet because I wasn't caught up on this. So now I was able to finally, for the first time, read one of these in print. I don't have all of this series yet. I've got maybe 6 or 7 of these. I'm slowly buying them up. But I gotta tell you, just out the gate, it is such a different experience reading that in print than in digital. Like, I've been to a point for a long time where I was for a bit anyway, where I almost prefer digital now, and I'm wending my way back to print. Like, because I've been collecting comics again real hardcore this year, and I counted the other day, Austin, I have like 150 new comics that came out this year. Like, it's ridiculous how many physical books I bought, and
That's great.
And so I was like, well, I spent $5 a piece on average on these. I should probably actually like open them and read them and not just read them in digital. And I don't know, I got kind of spoiled by digital for a long time. And now going back to this stuff, the art is so good in this book. It's really a treat to physically have it in print.
Oh yeah, I bet. And this time around, we've got this guy rocking up.
Oh yeah, there he is.
I saw this on my shelf as I was walking over. I was like, I'll grab him.
How many Transformers toys do you have? Like, I didn't know if you had much merch from this property.
I have a couple. I don't have like a ton. It's always been my dream to have a really good G1 Optimus and Grimlock, and I never have. But
that's fun.
I've got a couple.
Grimlock would be the thing I would want, probably.
Yeah, no, he's the best. That's my one like sad thing to like that Johnson never got to, is that he never did the Dinobots.
Didn't do any.
I wanted to see what he would do.
I was going to ask you if I was forgetting something. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's not anything in those first 12 that have Dinobots.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I think by the end of the third arc, I was like, okay, I'm probably just not getting them.
To be fair, though, the way this reads, I mean, it's really classy the way Johnson handles this, right? Because he knows that this is part of a larger shared universe with G.I. Joe and with Void Rivals and everything else that they're doing in the Energon universe. And so he's got his run, and he's getting a lot done in 24 issues, and he's developing and rebuilding a lot of lore and like reinventing these characters in really sophisticated ways. But I think he's intentionally leaving stuff for the next guy.
Yeah, I think so too. And that was something I wasn't really sure, how it would go with 24. Like, I was really dreading 24 because I'm like, is this going to be like a hard like cut? And now it's very different when it moves over. And luckily it's not, but it was definitely something I was worried about. And he is pretty generous with that stuff.
Absolutely. Going as far as, I think he's got loose ends he's intentionally not tied up. Like, the major stuff that he's set up from the beginning is absolutely tied in a bow by the end of this, but there are certain characters, like, not to get too ahead of myself, but particularly with like Alita 1 back on Cybertron and what happens with Cliffjumper and all of that, that's just a handoff. Like, that is a classic Marvel handoff where he's like, my run is done. This is a dynamic that I dealt with, but there's more to do, and the next guy can do whatever he wants to with that, and who knows what will happen. Like, she has literally imprisoned that character, and he just left it to Kirkman to deal with it. And that's great. Like, are you with me on that? Like, this reads like in its way kind of 70s and 80s Marvel, where it's like you have a writer that's on a run for a long time, and then they set it up so that the next guy could do his own thing but still continue with threads, so that it's still one unbroken soap opera.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I was very, interested to see where that was going to go with Kirkman doing it, and then he basically comes right out in that first issue and is like, "No, no, no, I'm picking up on all these threads. Like, I'm not just gonna, do my own thing. I am gonna do my own thing, but like, classic handoff, like you said." Um, so I don't know. They definitely talked about it, I'm sure, and went, "Hey, I'm gonna leave you with this. Okay, I can do stuff with that."
Yeah, it feels almost like Kirkman looked directly at, and like Johnson too, I'm sure. It's almost like they looked directly at some of the other reimaginings of uh, like popular IPs in comics over the last decade and said, what are those things not doing well? And how can we create something more sustainable, right? Because Skybound doesn't look like a thing that wants to exist for 8 or 10 years. It feels like a thing that wants to see just how long it can keep trucking, in my opinion. Because I thought it was impressive that IDW Ninja Turtles was able to last for a good solid 8 years before it kind of went south, and eight seems to be the magic number with the stuff at least that I like, that I've been allowed myself to get invested in comics, because both Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles were like this, although Power Rangers had a kind of gap in the middle that was real crappy, and then it came back around. But there was still some decent stuff in there because it wasn't just one book. But I digress. With both Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles, they've all fallen off by 8 years in my opinion, and with different strategies. So both of them were really long running runs that with Turtles, you had one guy, Tom Waltz, that did like 100 issues, and then you had a bunch of spin-off things. And then with Power Rangers, you had an initial architect with it, with Kyle Higgins, who then leaves, and then the guy that's doing Go-Go kind of takes over, and he's the guy for a while, and then there's a handoff with Melissa Flores. So they had three, but she is now rebooted, I think, badly, and they've kept her, and now I don't care anymore. And with this, it seems like they're a lot more deliberate from the start about uh, like trying to keep it fresh and not burn anybody out, I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy to know I have 6 more years where I can enjoy this for it to fit that 8 year cycle.
But I think if they continued with this kind of formula, it could maybe even last longer than that.
Hmm.
If they
Yeah.
get
Well, I'm
if they get
interested just to see how
the
long
right
Kirkman
creators.
runs it.
And see, I kind
Yeah.
of doubt he stays on it more than a couple of years because, like you said before, he didn't really want to do it in the first place. He's so busy. So, like,
Yeah.
if he does more than 24, I would be shocked.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I'm very interested because I could see it going either way. Because he also will like run a series for a long time, even if he's busy. But who
That's
knows? Like I could see
true.
him handing it off too.
Well, he also might just. I mean, this is one of his favorite properties. He might end up just falling in love with it enough that he's got really good ideas, and he goes, "Okay, I kind of don't want to leave."
Hmm. Or if he does pass it over, he does what he did through this run, where he's just like throwing ideas at them.
What would be nuts is if you got another 5, 6 years down the line and Johnson came back.
Oh, that would be fun.
It was like, psych, I've got another. Or maybe he does like the Bendis thing where he comes back for a 4 or 6 issue mini, but it's like a real big deal kind of story. What would be kind of neat, actually, and I doubt this happens. I think Kirkman will ultimately do this story, but it would be neat if we kept building to Unicron,
And
and
then
then
Johnson came back for
Johnson
it.
comes back just to do Unicron, and
Yeah.
it's like a big epic 6 part like miniseries, or maybe even like a big crossover thing that envelops all of this stuff. And you
Hmm.
see GI Joe have to deal with Unicron, and or with whatever's happening on the planet because of Unicron, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera.
I could definitely see Unicron being some sort of big event that unites all three books. Four if we ever do a mask book, since they're setting up mask stuff. But
Well, we've only been seeding Unicron since the start of Void Rivals.
Yeah, we're definitely getting Unicron at some point.
But
There's
not
no way
only
we
will
don't.
we get it, it will be the biggest deal. Like, they will treat it like Galactus, which is
Yeah.
how you should treat it,
Hmm.
certainly.
No, it'll be an entire issue just of full page spreads.
So I did a whirlwind today, or over the last couple days, and read all 12 of these. I Austin wanted to do um, the rest of this at once because there's not a clean break like there is with the first two arcs, where this is kind of, I don't want to say one story because like it's all been, building into one big narrative. But you're right, reading all this together, that it would have been a little bit odd talking about those. Like, I think that's a much shorter stream. Like, if you just talk about those things, like, there's stuff in there certainly that would
Yeah.
be interesting to talk about. But even more than the first 12, the big thing I was having with this is and it's funny because usually when I say this, I'm complaining, but I sort of feel like I only read six as far as
Hmm.
like the time it took to read it. Like, there's a lot more content than that. There's a lot more material than
Yeah.
that. But I couldn't believe how fast I was breezing through this stuff, to the point where I think I was missing plot points because I was so engaged with it, and it was so much fun just like looking at action and stuff, that I would read it too quickly. I had to slow myself down. I had the same thing my wife does, which is the reason she doesn't read comics, because my wife's like a reader, and she wants to like really take her time with stuff, but she
Hmm.
reads too fast. And so she'll breeze through a comic book and go, "That's it? That's all you get? How is that $5?" Like, that's her attitude. Like, she hates that. And I was having
Yeah.
that reading this, where I was like, "Oh crap! I have to force myself to spend more time with this."
Yeah, no, it reads super fast. And my worry too, just doing like was it 13 through 19, I guess? Yeah. My worry with doing those is that A, it kind of cliffhangs. So it's like doing the first part of a two-part episode, and then it would just be a lot of, ooh, where do you think this is going? Except one of us knows the answer and the other doesn't. And I was like, that's gonna be so awkward.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do that. And again, this ended up being, not, first of all, it's not a chore at all because I love this book, and I've loved it since the beginning. And second of all, it doesn't actually take much longer than 6 issues to read. But I tried to skim back over it in case I missed some things, and I will have some questions for you, Austin.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to say that and I'm not dogging on this second half at all. This is the nature of the beast. Because I have gone on record to say I think this is, at least of what I've been reading, the best ongoing in 10 years, any company, bar none. And like Void Rivals could rival that if I read more of it. I've read the first 6 issues now. I think it's wonderful. This is still on another level from that to me. Some of it might just
Mhm.
be like thematic stuff that really uh, that resonated with me more than Void Rivals. I guess I don't know, but it's certainly the best like IP thing in that amount of time, of these kind of reimaginings of kid stuff to then resell to adults that want something smarter later. I wish Turtles and Power Rangers could have been on this level, because boy, they felt like it when they were in their prime. No pun intended. And then this just goes to another level over those. I still feel that way about it. The second half of Johnson's run starts to get mired enough in like Transformers lore and fan stuff that I feel a little bit left out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Here and there, where I'm like, I don't know if I'm just not paying enough attention, or if there's certain things that aren't made clear enough for people that aren't in the know already, or if some of it is just art that I can't totally tell what's happening. But there are certain bits that are over my head, and I don't 100% know what is happening in the last 8 or 9 pages. And I want to talk to you about 24, because I went back
Yeah.
and skimmed back over that 3 times which wasn't hard, because that issue reads like Superman 75. It's so fast. Like, they might as well be one panel on a page.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I had that on the first read too. I'm sure some of the questions you're going to ask me are things that I had a lot more on a first reading. So
Okay,
even from
cool.
that standpoint, I don't think you're wrong.
Because I felt a little bit like an idiot, where I didn't totally understand a couple of big things, and not to get too ahead of myself right away, because we'll get to all of that. But
Yeah.
some of that, I don't want to say that it felt too easy, but I just felt like I didn't totally know what I was looking at, like with what happens with Starscream. And then the other thing is Prime has. So obviously spoilers for this. It's a vault. Optimus has this virus, and at the end of that, he's still real weak, and the Matrix is working again, and the virus is gone, and I don't really know how that happened. And I could not figure that out. Like, reading back over it, I was like, I don't understand what about this battle made that go away. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
For sure.
I feel like a dumb like second grader that needs the teacher to explain the lesson. Like, I don't really know what's happening there.
No, you're okay. You're okay. The big important stuff happened 24 is the first half that is just gigantic action spreads.
Well, yeah, that was all
We've
great.
been building to this moment.
Yeah, but also it thematically wonderfully wraps up everything he's been doing since the first issue.
No, of course. And that was because reading through this monthly was like a pretty emotional experience for me, because like I've always been a trade reader. I never really followed Comics Monthly, and then jumped on this issue 1 monthly, and it like kicked me into reading Comics Monthly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was like this real like, oh man, like, you know, this is like this big endpoint for me. Like, that this is so weird. And there's a certain point in this book where I'm like, oh, you're not introducing anything anymore. You're just wrapping everything up. I think it's in like the last 3 or 4 issues.
Yeah.
Where like it really hits me, and I'm like, oh yeah, like we're coming to an end. This is, whew, I'm not ready.
You were following this like a TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
But you were looking at it like the last episode of a TV show, as opposed to just a new showrunner is coming on.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because like I said, I didn't know, you know, how clean of a break it was going to be.
Sure.
So it was like, I don't even know what to expect.
Well, and I came into this, of course, knowing about the really classy thing 25 does, where the art is the same for the first few pages, and then it hands off to Dan Mora, which I've never seen anything else do, and that's super cool. Again, it's like they're looking at the other companies going, why doesn't anybody ever do it like that? Like why can't you just have a plan? And why can't you look like you like each other, instead of the next writer comes on and F that guy, I'm gonna do whatever I want. You can
Optimus is a Decepticon now. That's what I want to do.
You can have both if you're following the rules of improv. You know, if you do it like, you know, pencil and paper RPG, and that is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so especially now that I've read 25, it was a real treat kind of going back to it. It's kind of emotional, where I'm like, oh man, I can't believe it's over. But I'm excited with where it's going, so like it's not, you know, a big deal.
Yeah, but you can have your cake
like,
and eat it too, where this guy actually gets to finish his run, so that you're not reading this brilliant run that gets compromised, like happens so much with Marvel DC, and then Kirkman will, of course, I'm sure, I haven't read any of his stuff yet, but I'm sure of his 2 issues so far, that he will be respectful enough to what Johnson did that he's not going to, like, flat out retcon anything, and that he's going to be true to the characterizations of these versions of the characters. Like, his Optimus will have that philosophy, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm still I'm like, now that Kirkman's taken over, I'm expecting him to bring in Bumblebee, but we'll see. That's like the one thing I'm like, we're gonna tweak that, I'm sure.
You know what? I think that'll happen, but I almost felt like there was and almost out for it with this when we flash back and look at Bumblebee again. I like he's not saying he's still alive or anything. There's just something about the shot we get of that kind of said like he's almost telling the audience, we'll find some way to. I know I'm not doing this anymore, but I assume he'll matter again because he's Bumblebee. I don't know why else you would do that shot. We've never referenced him again, hardly.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I can go into a plot summary for this.
Yeah, please do. 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
I don't know where the time goes. It's like reading this book. I don't know where the time went.
It just disappears, yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty easy one to explain. So at the the beginning of 7, Soundwave kicks Starscream off the Decepticons, throws him away, and we do an entire arc, and now he's back. He got Anakin Skywalker. He has no legs. He's sitting in lava, and humans pull him out, and they attach him to a tank. So he's got part of a body, and he assembles his own team, which is basically just the Combaticons who make Bruticus and Astrotrain. And we have like a full Decepticon civil war that the Autobots are just stuck in the middle of until this fella shows up and then says, hey, stupid people, I'm uniting you all under one banner. Let's go kill the Autobots. And that's basically this 12-issue stretch.
That was really nice and concise. Well done.
Yes, thank you.
I just had this thought that didn't occur to me while I was reading it, and I don't know if this is intended. So tell me if this is too much of a stretch, Austin. But when the humans, the human soldiers that find Starscream, put him on a tank, they like, for lack of a better word, kind of galvanize a tank, and they
exactly
and
galvanize a Tron, if you will.
But he's not Galvatron. We're not doing that. We'll get to the Galvatron thing. With the backstory that we get with Megatron and the Quintessons and the Sharkticons and all of that. Because I was thinking about Galvatron that whole time. I was like, oh, Unicron just like already knows he's gonna do that. Like he's basically Galvatron before he's Galvatron. But anyway, I just never years ago I could have never expected that I could like at all coherently talk about Transformers. Like anything that would ever happen.
Like Sharkticons, yeah.
Now all of a sudden here we are making these like 2-hour Transformers streams. It's very bizarre. I could never have imagined this, even 10 years ago. So anyway, when they graft is the word I was looking for. When they graft him, because he's lost his legs, onto a tank, he becomes retroactively a pathetic parody of Megatron. Because Megatron's secondary form, before he has the gun thing, is a tank. Now, it's a stationary tank, but he's got the treads and everything, and it makes him seem like even more of a pathetic loser, if you think about it like that. Because all Starscream wants is to be the king of the hill, big man on campus, and has just kind of ingratiated himself to Megatron when he's had to, and has been looking for any opportunity to stab it in the back, which is traditional Starscream. But this version, we actually got to see him for a long time, take that place and see how terrible he is at it, because he has no plan. He has no actual ambition beyond just, I want to look like the strongest and quelch everything under my foot. And I love that he just ends up like grafted to a tank. Like I didn't have that thought until I'm looking at that image right now, and I'm like, oh, he's a crappy parody of Megatron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but no, that's very true. Well, especially with the way we learn more about him and his backstory in this, where he has just kind of been molded into that as well, by Megatron in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. His backstory is wonderfully tragic, and I was of two minds about it because I don't think I need a Starscream that is dictionary sympathetic. Like, I think I was always okay with that character just being really conniving like that, and I think I would have always bought it. He already felt like he had, like, this much more dimension than he had before, but, like, you can have characters that are just straight up evil. I mean, with actual human beings, you want to know where they came from and why they're the way they are. But like if Starscream had just been hanging with the wrong crowd from when he was younger and this is what he turned into, like I would have always bought that. I never needed like the sob story for Starscream. It
Mhm.
works. Like I ultimately bought into it well enough. Although I thought it was interesting how Transformers won that red.
Well, and I was like, even besides that, and obviously I haven't seen this, but it brought me back to like the original Orion Pax episode from G1, where I was like, oh, we're kind of doing a similar thing with that, where like he starts as somebody else and gets like molded into this, not physically like Orion Pax, but just like a similar kind of like just regular guy that ends up in the heat of things.
Yeah, and I didn't know what the Orion Pax thing was in the original show. Like I'm
It's not too far off. He's a dock worker instead of a miner, but like it is like that same kind of
okay. I
working
didn't
class guy.
I didn't know that. I thought they made that up for the movie.
Oh, no! It's like that mixed with RoboCop.
Okay, that's cool. So then that ends up being kind of like this, where it's something that was there already, but is just like tweaked and made a bit more sophisticated.
Yeah, and like Starscream being a scientist before the war is a thing from like going all the way back to G1.
Okay.
Uh, but we kind of flesh that out a little bit, and of course we do some references to the '86 movie where they're like blowing through Cup's security job to to be like kid hooligans. We got to do that scene and blow stuff up.
So is Starscream typically like even in other versions played as tragic like that, where like he probably was like a half decent person at one time?
I think it kind of depends on the version. Like, we usually keep some sort of scientist background for him, and then it kind of just depends. Like sometimes he's more sympathetic, and then you get something like the Cybertron games where he's more like a Walmart mid-level manager that gets like brought up to a higher level and is like, "Oh, I like this." So it kind of just depends on the version.
Yeah, because that's a fun take because this character in general just has delusions of grandeur. So like that makes a lot of sense. Whereas like you give him an
Yeah.
inch and he takes a mile and he decides if he's achieved that, however he achieved it, he must be better than he is.
hmm Yeah, exactly. And then, like Nicholas Bodo said, I've heard Armada does a very sympathetic Starscream, but I haven't seen that show.
Okay, yeah, I've never seen that either.
Yeah, I read the comics for it, but it like a long time ago.
And I'm super limited in my Transformers knowledge anyway, but I've sampled several shows, but that's one I don't think I've ever seen any of.
hmm Yeah, and because that's part of the Unicron trilogy, and people tend to be more mixed on that. But Armada's like the top one of the
Oh, maybe
three.
Armada's the one that because I saw, now that I'm remembering that, I saw like the first couple three episodes of one of those and then found out that it was part of that trilogy series because I didn't realize that. So I think
Hmm.
maybe that is the one I saw and then didn't even realize that it was a sequel to something.
Oh, that's the first one.
That is the first
So
one. What is the second
yeah,
one?
Energon, and then three is Cybertron.
I think Energon might have been the one I saw, but I
Oh,
can't
okay.
remember. I don't remember feeling lost or anything, but a lot of these things will just drop us in a particular period. So it didn't seem weird to think
Mhm.
that, oh, we're just dropped in.
Yeah, and I think each of those shows have kind of their own thing going on too. So like it's I would think would be easier to just be dropped into.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
'Cause- yeah.
I did think it was cool that we got only two. I'm pretty sure in the 24 issues, only two flashback issues like that go, and like there's little flashbacks here and there to different things, but the idea that you would stop everything and go, here's uh how Starscream became Starscream, and here's how Megatron, like he was already Megatron, but the trials that he went through with the Quintessons that uh, make him have to turn into a gun that someone has to fire because that whole thing. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The point I started to make with that is just I'm pretty sure we only do that with those two issues, and it's kind of cool that it's with those two characters because they've been
Mhm.
sort of our big bads this whole time. Like, yeah, Soundwave takes over, but we don't really spend a ton of time with him like we do with Starscream. There's not a whole
Yeah.
lot to Soundwave, which isn't really a problem. He's much more of like a midpoint between Starscream and Megatron, where he'll like do the awful things he has to do to get a one up on or a leg up on the Autobots, but he doesn't revel in it the way Starscream does. But he doesn't have the chip on his shoulder that Megatron does either. It's kind of more just this uniform leadership. In a weird way, he's almost the better leader between the three of them, because he's kind of stoic and he just does what he needs to do. And Megatron does make a big deal out of how all Starscream cares about is his fear and his jealousy and his feelings of inadequacy. But like he's also fueled by his own emotion to some degree. Like he's definitely a way better leader than Starscream is, but he's also got this these feelings of vengeance certainly.
Mhm. Yeah, and just very sadistic uh, as well.
But not
Well,
sadistic in the
Soundwave is
same
just
way. Like he's more
no.
like I don't think he revels in killing humans in the same way. It's just he has even less compassion about it than Soundwave, if that's possible. But his sadism comes much more in quelching his adversaries. And the humans he just hasn't spent any time with yet to have any feelings about. So his sadism comes much more in stomping Optimus down.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just little care for anything. Even though he can admit that Earth is beautiful.
Yeah, that whole thing was odd, where he's like, it reminds me of Cybertron. And then he goes on to describe how Cybertron used to be barren and beautiful, and I didn't really understand how those two things went together. I don't know what I was missing there.
But I just love that he's like, look, I'm not crazy. Obviously, I know this planet's pretty nice. It reminds me of our own planet. Anyways, let's destroy this planet so we can make ours cool again.
Well, what's interesting is there's a parallel there with Alita,
Mhm.
because she
Yeah.
is essentially saying the same thing, only she comes at it from more of a like desperate, ostensibly compassionate place of like this is necessary and we have to put ourselves first, and if that means destroying this other planet so that we can live, like that's sad, but we have to do it. And Optimus has, of course, the opposite view where he says, we can't let another planet get destroyed, even if it means our own destruction. And she sees that as treason.
Mhm. Yeah, because she's so just, battered and broken down after all these years. And, just stuck in this really hopeless rebellion.
From the start, I have just really loved all of the complex politics in this book, especially as I always like to talk about with just such a like initially goofy premise, and that all of this starts from action figures. That always makes me happy when you can get this, it complicated and thought provoking, and get into like real classic sci-fi ideas.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I mean, I think that's probably why it as a franchise is like, always stuck around. Is it's like, yeah, it is just toys, but like uh, some of the people that work on it tend to care as opposed to some of the other ones. And
Yeah,
Johnson just does a really good job, especially at this point, because you have Ratchet, who's very much like the voice against Optimus in those first like 8 or so issues, and now he's gone.
yeah,
So
I
it's like you have to
forgot
kind
he
of
was
find that.
even there. It's been so
Like,
long. I was like, wait, what's all this talk about Ratchet? Is he invented this book? Oh, that's right, he was.
he's dead.
Yeah, because we keep killing off or writing
Everybody.
writing out the important characters that are like really prominent in a lot of shows and movies and stuff. So like
Mhm.
Ratchet was Jeffrey Combs in every episode of Prime, so he ain't gonna be in here for very long. Like
I don't know.
I
Maybe
said,
he'll get reanimated,
oh,
if you will, with
there,
Jeffrey
there you
Combs.
go, there you go. I can't say every episode. I haven't watched every episode of that show, but I assume Prime's there or Ratchet's there all the way through.
Yeah, if he's not in every episode, he's in most episodes.
But he's not written out at some point or anything. I would
Nope.
figure.
No, he gets a really cool ending
Oh,
in that
cool.
show. hmm From what I remember, I don't know. I think people are a little down on season 3, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, I'll have to finally go through that at some point. I was watching season 1 with Mikey last year. I think I saw about half of that, and so I got further than I had. It was moving a little slow for my taste. Like it does get real, episodic Saturday morning. Um,
hmm Yeah, it definitely does. It that's one of those shows where it is like you kind of start with your big arc, end with your big arc, and then everything in the middle is just episodic. Or maybe at the very least, like, you're putting pieces to be used later on, but it's more so that kind of episodic TV.
but yeah, what impresses me about Transformers as an overall franchise, and then this especially, I think, just crystallizes it better than anything I've looked at. Is it feels like a thing that ought to be in much more of a Star Wars science fantasy realm, and it finds a way to like perfectly marry science fiction and science fantasy because it's straight up good versus evil, but then it gets into real deep, like human identity questions and what makes a man, and then uh, like loyalty questions and stuff like the sorts of things that you do a lot more in science fiction than you do in fantasy.
hmm
But then there's also a lot of
Uh,
politics in fantasy. So I mean,
yeah, well, and specifically, especially these last 6 issues, I was thinking of Lord of the Rings a lot. Just in the kind of Battle of Helm's Deep thing, where it's like, oh, we're in this doomed battle, like, they're coming for us, like, what are we gonna do? We're stuck. And there's just a couple of moments where I'm like, I feel like Johnson like gives like a nod, like, yep, I'm definitely influenced by Lord of the Rings. The big one is there's a rivalry between Bruticus and Devastator, and there's a
yeah.
part where the Decepticons are killing all these humans, and they're having like a battle where they're counting like how many people they've killed, and like that's their rivalry where it's like, ha, I've killed 27, pfft, I've killed 35, you're way
Oh,
behind me.
that's true. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Mhm. But yeah, that joke specifically like really stood out to me the first time because I love that bit in Lord of the Rings, and then I was thinking about it a little bit more this time, and I was like, oh, I'm getting a little bit more. Lord of the Rings influence than I was reading it, month to month. And no, and I mean, you also have like Optimus Prime like arrives at the turn of the tide as we're all about to die, and he unites everybody after we thought he was dead.
Well, yeah, because ultimately this is just a big war epic, but it's easy for me to distill the whole thing down to the Optimus Starscream debate and then the Optimus Megatron debate. And
Hmm.
when you look at these characters as stand-ins for philosophies, it's not that there's no philosophy in fantasy. I'm not saying that, but like
Hmm.
I we I we started to get into a lot of the questions that I find fascinating in my favorite science fiction ideas, or in my science fiction properties. And I'm not saying that this is like a straight up Star Trek story or that he's even looking at Star Trek, but when we start getting into the like relative godhood stuff. And Optimus having nearly a kind of like prime directive attitude where it's like we showed up on this planet, we don't belong here, we have a responsibility to try to leave this place better than we found it. And given the fact that it is like creatures from other planets that show up here, they're not exploring, but he has kind of an explorer's mentality. I I see that as a very science fiction kind of bent.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then you also have like someone like a beachcomber who's the
Pacifist.
like yeah, the pacifist. Yeah, exactly. And reading it this time, it hit me. I was like, this feels like if you took that dumb line everybody makes fun of at the end of The Last Jedi, the save what you love, don't kill what you hate bit, and like actually
I
fleshed
forgot
that
about
out.
that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is what that thought it was doing. Like, this is how you make that like an interesting character idea, and just taking something from the original cartoon that was really unique for the time, but is kind of like Saturday morning. Here's a moral for you, and like really, fleshing that out.
Yeah, and making it less black and white and making it a lot harder. Like
Hmm.
everybody but Starscream has a point in this, which is funny because Starscream, uh, will find comes from a again kind of sad tragic place, and he is something of a victim before he becomes a insane crazy sadist guy, who blows up a hospital. But with
That was fun.
but like when you look at Alita and even Megatron, like like I said, I'm seeing them as almost two sides of a coin. Where for
Mhm.
their respective groups, their respective alliances, they have a similar philosophy, which is the only thing that matters is our interests, and it doesn't matter who we have to step on in order to get there. And again, it's just a matter of which of them enjoys it more. But it's sad that Alita does not look that far off from me than Megatron, but they also both uh, have a point. They're just of course too extreme in it, and there is like I think the Autobots should be questioning Optimus a bit more than they are, maybe like Alita does in just how much of a fascination and love he has for the Earth when his planet is in flames. And I think he also has a better argument than he's maybe even making, which is uh, our planet is like done. Like it's more than doomed. It literally was like blown in half, and we can't go back there and live on it. Like, what are we supposed to do? And so again, there's points on all sides, and I think certain characters could be making a better case for their side.
Mhm.
But and maybe I've said this before with the other couple videos we did on this, but this is the most sympathetic I've ever seen Optimus, and I think it's my favorite version of him because Johnson looks at the morally ambiguous Optimus we've done in the past, and he says, "How do we get the audience on his side from the beginning?" While others of his race are questioning him, because I'm getting where he's coming from the whole time. And I have watched and read Optimus and other things where I've gone, God, he seems out to lunch. Like, what is wrong with this guy? And this Optimus, I never have that. And I like how like self-reflective he is, and how he's always checking himself. Like he at one time was more extreme in his grief and his rage, and he let that get the better of him and control him.
Hmm. Yeah, I like the speech that he has, and it goes on for a couple pages, where he talks about that when he's like really like starting to get impacted by the like whole infection thing that he has, where he's talking to Spike, and then I think it's when they bring in the aerial bots. I think that's when he's talking to them about it too, where
Oh
he's talking
yeah.
about like his rage in the past, and all that was great. And that I think I mentioned this in the last video we did, because I think we did it before they actually revealed what was going on with that, and I predicted it like pretty quickly, and I was very happy that was the way that they went, because I think that was just the right move. The whole like Megatron's arm thing is infecting him, and he's getting like flashes of that.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, because since it's been a while since we read this, I totally forgot that his uh, what the arm thing was.
Yeah, where he like loses his arm in the first arc and then replaces it with Megatron's.
That's I forgot about that. I knew he lost his arm, but I forgot it was Megatron's that he replaced it with. Okay, that whole thing makes a lot more sense to me now. That was one of the question marks I had, where I was like, I cannot remember if
Yeah.
there was anything in those first couple of arcs that would explain this infection. They just start talking about an infection, and I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, in arc 2, it's more just he keeps having these flashes, and he's like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
And that's kind of like the big end of that second arc, is that he's like holding Shockwave, and then he goes through one of those flashes, and then he kills him.
you know what's cool? Again,
What's
tell me
that?
if I'm stretching, but that makes me
Mm.
think that Megatron turning into a gun and controlling people is a metaphor for that.
Oh, it definitely is. Like that seems to just be part of his power, is that he's got this dark influence, mystical influence, if you will.
Yeah. But like that would make him a metaphor for Optimus's self-doubt in the first place, where he's afraid that there's this
Mhm.
darkness lingering within him that he thought he'd put at bay, but will show up and start controlling him, and then he'll find out that it's actually now that you've explained it to me, uh, because stories are always better when you explain them. Um, it actually literally is his arch nemesis that is doing this to him,
Mhm.
and so that suggests that he really had kind of I done the internal work. Like, he met with his therapist and he got that all figured out, and he's in good shape now moving forward. But he had all the self-doubt because Megatron was infecting him and making him think that all of that was back again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had to go inside of himself to talk to a dead man to be like, "Oh, that's right. I can do it. I can kick that guy's ass."
I am convinced that some percentage, maybe 5 to 10% of Johnson's interest in doing this book was to come up with a honest to God dramatic explanation for why on earth your main villain would turn into a gun that somebody else wields. Like, I am
And it's such a
convinced.
good explanation. It's so cool.
I it's bizarre, and I and kind of convoluted, but I give it like more than a pass because it is like it's a really creative, clever, like what's the word I'm looking for? Explanation retroactively. But if you started with it, you'd be like, what would even possess you? What would make you think I'm gonna have this character be a gun and control people that wield him? Because he's just like, I wasn't even fully understanding that whole thing where it's like he says something about his power being limited, and so someone else has to wield him when he wants to, basically shoot his like Omega Beam level power out.
Yeah, he's got that because the Quintesson that puts him through the trial has that like purple glowy power that allows him to control people, and then he gives that to Megatron, so when he becomes a gun, he can control them. And they make his gun design just a tank with a handle, and I'm like, get on this, Hasbro. This should be his new toy.
No,
I know you can't do like the regular gun because like by law you can't even do that now because of the whole like, you can't look like an actual gun. But I'm like, they even put like something in this book to get around that too. I'm like, yeah, just do that. Just put a tank on a handle. There you go.
I think that was the coolest thing about it. So you're filling in things that I was not understanding on a first read. So thanks for that.
No worries.
It didn't occur to me that it was that Quintesson's persuasive powers that were put into put into Megatron's. That makes a lot more sense now. So I will retract what I said about that being convoluted. Except it's still convoluted in the sense that you're working your way backwards from. It's a gun someone else uses, and somehow that's supposed to be scary. They're at least not going as far as the cartoon did, where he would just levitate in midair somehow. Like, it's not doing that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that's why Galvatron was such a big upgrade. Was he was a gun with like a little tripod.
Yeah, he couldn't even go anywhere.
So he's like, oh, I can finally, fire without somebody.
No, I thought it was so cool that they just took his secondary form, his vehicle form, and miniaturized it and made it the gun that you wield. So it's still got the treads, like it's that tank, but you're holding it and shooting it.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. Like, I think that's the way you go.
Now, I'll tell you what I still want.
What's
you said you can't have Megatron turn into a gun anymore as a toy because it's just not legal. It can't look like a real gun. But I want them to make one that is that, but it's just got the stupid orange tip.
Oh, the orange cap. I think they've done that before.
Oh, really?
Like, I think that was their first workaround, and then they decided, like, let's just not do that.
I just think it would be so funny to have an orange tip Megatron gun because like that always looked bad, and just like I understand it. Like, it's just a way to like know the difference, and it's not a real gun, but.
Yeah,
I just thought it would be really funny if Megatron transforms into a toy gun.
And like in universe too, like put that in the TV show.
Well, you'd have to put the orange tip somewhere in his robot form. It's like maybe it's like a collar.
Like
I was gonna say like it's his neck or something.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And then like his head flips around, and then it's on the edge of it. Because it could be like a. It makes sense that it would break off and there'd be a hole there.
Well, I also like the idea if it's just on his like shoulder, like or his arm gun, whereas his arm gun just also has an orange tip.
Oh, that's good too. No, that's much better than what I'm saying.
Because I can't remember. It's either no. I think it's the thing on his back that becomes the barrel of the gun, and maybe his like cannon becomes the scope. I can't remember, but it would one of those. It would be really funny.
I can't even make jokes. Captain Coon says that was done in the early 2000s, but he looked like a Nerf gun in greens and purples. Then they did a repaint with his G1 colors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did. I think. Well, I know they did the tank one that was like military, like camo. So I wonder if it has like a similar, green with that, and then also purple. I've definitely seen the G1 recolor though. Um, but yeah, that's like the whole reason that it's infecting Optimus when he's got the arm too, because it's like that power is still in his arm. It's just like his lifeblood, I guess, for Megatron
Well,
now.
that makes perfect sense. Yeah, like
Mhm.
I got no questions. There are no qualms about that now. That makes perfect sense. No, that's
Yeah,
great.
he's got that purple evil power.
Well, and that shows so much forethought in the writing.
Yeah, because that's going, right back to when it starts.
Yeah, and like think about everything we know about Megatron now and all the mapping out that you'd have to do for the story to get like
Hmm.
I mean maybe he worked his way backwards and he was just thoughtful enough that he managed to fit it all together, but like that you've got a Megatron that has these persuasive powers and that's in the arm that Optimus puts on himself, and that's the reason that he's having like weird visions and things. Like you would have to know the whole backstory that you've come up with for Megatron.
Yeah, exactly. And like we
By
don't really
issue
get him until.
3, because
Mm,
he's been dealing uh, with the virus forever. And it's
yeah,
been a
yeah,
giant
no,
mystery as to why why it's affecting his behavior and why he keeps having flashes. Although, um, is that entirely related to Sparky going in him, or is that a separate issue? Because I assume the virus was giving him the visions, but then you also have the Sparky thing.
it seems like they're both kind of fighting off each other. Like the Sparky thing is giving him visions that have both his memories and Sparky's like kind of mixed together, but then the Megatron arm is making him violent and having weird violent flashes too.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're just kind of playing off each other.
Well, that works because both those things happening simultaneously, like it's credible. Like it doesn't feel too convenient, like timing wise. And then all of that would just confuse Optimus and make him question himself and question uh,
Yeah, and if it was just
the
one, it would be
technology.
easier to be like, oh, well, this is obviously what happened.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true too.
with it being both, especially with the Sparky thing, it throws off suspicion of the arm. So it's like, oh, there's something wrong with the Matrix, probably because Sparky, a person, went into it, and that's not
Yeah.
supposed to happen.
Well, they talk a lot about that in this
Hmm.
section. It could have gotten so much more sappy about that by the end. Like I was really worried Sparky would at some point like walk out of the Matrix or something. I was kind of glad that didn't
Yeah,
happen. You know, like I like
yeah.
that we don't cheat with the consequences with anything.
Hmm. No, and I think they
We
do.
will with
Uh,
Bumblebee. Don't worry, that will happen. But
yeah, exactly. No, I think they get like sappy in the right ways with some of that stuff. When we finally meet
sure.
Sparky, we're like, it is definitely sappy to a degree, but I don't think it goes over the line where it doesn't work anymore.
No, that's appropriate for this kind of material. But
Yeah.
it could have just been rubbish, man. Like if he'd walked out, I would have been done.
Like I really like the bit where it's Sparkplug being handed, his baby for the first time, and then it cuts to Optimus picking up Spike at the end, being like, "Are you okay?" Like we kind of parallel those two shots. I thought that really worked.
Yeah, it's true.
And some of the stuff with that, where it's like uh, Spike tries to go into the Matrix himself, and Sparky, or yeah, Sparky throws him out, and we're kind of cutting back and forth between him holding his son and Optimus holding some of the Autobots that died throughout the book so far.
Yeah. So you're doing, uh, so you're doing like tragic father figure stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Like
And he's like,
people
"I'll
that have
make
kind
sure
of,
you're there for my son."
yeah, like lost their children or had to sacrifice themselves for it. I'm noodling this because I hadn't thought about that part of it
Yeah.
too much, but
Hmm. No, and I mean, we were paralleling those two characters as father figures, going all the way back to the first six issues.
sure.
So the fact that it bookends was really nice. I thought it was a really great choice.
Yeah, all of the thematic stuff I really needed to see, thematic character stuff that I really needed to see paid off was done in a really satisfying way in that last issue. One of the big things was Beachcomber,
Hmm.
because he is the pacifist that Optimus kind of wishes he can be, and Optimus uh, is kind of fighting with himself about like whether or not violence is ever the answer, and like he kind of knows, he thinks in his heart of hearts that I like you've got to protect people and you can't just stand there and let bad things happen. But then Beachcomber seems to have a lot more of a point to him when you get to that last issue where like Optimus has always respected him, and then he's put in that very situation that Beachcomber as an extreme pacifist would be put in all the time, which is that sadistic choice of you can either let someone you care about die or you can actually fight for them. And when Optimus says, "You're the best of us," I get the sense that if you hadn't had the kind of lucky, Deus Ex Machina character that shows up just in the nick of time, which feels less of a Deus Ex Machina because we saw it set up, so at least we knew about it. Optimus, I would have been forced to let Megatron kill both his friends and Beachcomber.
Hmm.
He would have done what Beachcomber did, or what Beachcomber would have done, and not what Alita would have done, which kind of
Hmm.
suggests that he actually is more on Beachcomber's side.
Yeah, well, especially like Beachcomber is what Optimus thinks that they like their end goal is, like you said, where
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
the personified version of the dream. Like he's already there. They just all need to get to where he is. So like that's also part of the "you're the best of us."
Well, yeah, he's the antithesis, obviously. I mean, it goes without saying, to like the Decepticons in general, but Megatron and Starscream especially. Remember that speech that Optimus has earlier, where he's just beside himself with grief and anger about how far he says uh, he didn't even realize Cybertronians can go in hurting each other, and like he
Mhm.
can't get his head around that. And then he's got just as shattering a disillusionment about humanity when he finds out that we're also capable of it, which is why I say this whole thing is about how uh, we're all human beings and we have the same faults and the same accolades, and that's what makes it feel like a sci-fi story to me.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. We're not so different from the big old mean machines. Um, Beachcomber also has one of my favorite just images, just art wise in this, where we flash back to the ship crashing, and there's the panel of it's like I think directly his eyes, and there's like the flames in it,
Yeah.
and as he's looking out into the stars, it's really cool. Uh, that's a great panel. I mean, there's great art all throughout, but that specifically is one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, although you said that when you first read the flashback issue with Megatron and the Quintessons, you didn't care for that art, and that looking back at it, you were more okay with it.
Yeah, I liked it this time. I don't know what I was smoking when I first read it. When I first read it, I was like, "Oh, that was rough." And then reading it all together today, I was like, "Oh no, what was I talking about?
I'll
I don't.
take
I must have slept on the wrong side of the bed."
well, I'll take up for your earlier self a little bit,
Yeah.
and say it's good. It just doesn't look like any of the rest of this, and I don't know that there's really a justification for dramatically shifting the art style just for that flashback issue because we don't do it with Starscreams.
hmm Well, it's got because
Well, no,
Simon
we do.
does
No, we
have a
do
different artist, but
actually. We
it's
no, no. Now
yeah,
that I'm thinking about it, it is a little bit different. No,
but only
so that's
slightly. It's closer.
maybe an intentional choice, but yeah, I think the Megatron one looks a bit more cartoony and more streamlined, like it's smoother.
Yeah, and I think going back because I just read the books month to month. Like I'm not really following solicitations or anything like that. So I think also I was worried that the rest of his run was going to look like that, and I was a bit disappointed. And then we brought back the other artist, so maybe that was part of it too. Was maybe if the rest of his run, like those last 6 issues, had that more cartoony art style, I'd still have that.
Oh, maybe so.
But no,
Yeah,
I thought it looked pretty good this time around.
yeah. It does feel like an intentional choice. So like, I'm glad that
Mhm.
it wasn't just a new art style because that would have been kind of tragic uh, for his run because it has had a look.
Yeah, exactly. No, that would have been weird, but
And even
thankfully it wasn't.
and he worked really hard in maintaining that look even while he's not the penciler. So it would have been really bizarre to suddenly have a completely different look for the last 6 issues.
Yeah, especially because he's still doing the covers, so it's like the
Yeah,
covers are still the art you expect, and then if the interiors changed, it would have been really weird. And Megatron shows up; it's cartoony now.
yeah. I guess there's a logic to that, but I'm glad we didn't do that. It's
Mhm.
weird to me that Cybertronian computers have words in English.
Yeah, they're like, ah, screw it. They speak English. They read English. It's all English.
I mean, they know what a tape deck is to transform into a tape deck, even though we don't make those anymore. So,
Yeah, exactly.
my favorite moment in these entire 12 issues is when Starscream goes to town on Soundwave and makes fun of him for being obsessed with his tapes, and I lost it. I thought that was so funny. It was the best one up uh, line I've read in a long time. I was like, that was a good comeback, Starscream.
Well, I like how that the third arc, the first half of what we're doing, is essentially just two brothers just bickering, just on a giant, horrible scale.
Yeah, that's
Even
true.
to the point where Dad just comes in, he's like, "Stop that."
That is one of the best pieces of art in the entire thing. Is that full
Is which
page?
one?
Well, the full page spread with and I'm just going linearly right now in the art that I'm showing, so it'll be a while before I get to it. But the full page spread the page that you're talking about actually, that's got the two of them on one side and Megatron finally presenting himself on the other side, and just the
Mhm.
lighting on that page, the kind of moonlight thing, it's killer.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that today because there was news recently that we're getting just like an Energon Universe show, I guess, where it's initially I thought it was supposed to just be a Transformers show based on this material. Apparently, it's going to be based on all three books in this
That's
universe.
what I had read in the first place. That initial
Yeah, I guess I
announcement
missed that.
was it's going to be all three. Yeah.
But I just imagined this time around, now knowing that, I was like, oh, I can see this as the end of an episode. That ending where
Yeah.
Megatron shows up, and then we have, and I could almost hear it where it's like the music's building. He's showing up. He's like, you're all gonna follow me, and then we cut down to Optimus, and he just whispers, "Autobots retreat," and I could just imagine, like in my head, I'm like, it's like your Infinity War like cliffhanger where it's like, oh man, cut to black, boom.
Well, we've been waiting for it the whole season, right? Because you're like, oh, really? We're
Yeah.
watching a Transformers thing where you don't have Megatron at the start, and then I can imagine a show would give you the reveal of him on the side of that mountain or whatever it was way earlier, where it's like we know he's coming, but like end of first or second episode, you get that shot, or they even do it as like a mid credits or something,
Yeah.
like in a show. It's like, oh, there's Megatron, he's over there, and then it's like 13 episodes before you finally see him.
Mhm. Yeah, it would be taking what they do in animated and like really running with it. Because with that, he gets like his head cut off, I think, and he's just like a head through the first season, and just every now and then we like cut back to him just as a head, and he's doing machinations. But like I said, just pushing that even farther, where you don't even get those scenes.
Yeah. Nicholas Bodo, this would look wonderful as an animated show if done properly, akin to X-Men '97. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But I think you could. I don't think you can fully ape this style, but I think you could use it as a starting place. Like, I think if you were trying to be sort of faithful to this, Austin, you could really set it apart from any Transformer show that we've had before
Mhm.
by going grittier with the look. I think that would be really cool. Just let it be kind of pencily.
Yeah, I wonder. Because I do feel like Mora's style is probably easier to replicate in
You're
animation.
right.
It's
You're
like
right. It is. It is.
so
But
like I feel like it might be more like that, but it would be interesting to see them do this. And then there's also just the matter of how is it going to adapt all three? Like how's
yeah,
that going to work? And like
because you need a house style for animation at that point, like or for
yeah.
character models, they would all have to look like they could exist in the same universe. That's a thing you have to do in moving animation in a way you don't as much on a comic page, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel like the guy, and I can't think of what his name is, but the guy who does G.I. Joe and Dan Mora's art have like look similar enough that maybe you would have something that looks kind of between those two, but uh, doing it kind of sketchy would be really interesting.
So, what did you think of what ultimately becomes the Deus Ex Machina character with Shred Head?
It was Shredhead, who's our big made-up character for this.
Yeah,
Uh, one thing I was surprised, I was like, oh, that's crazy. We've had this van in the background since issue one, and I never once thought, oh, well, this is going to become a transformer. But like
it's
looking
true.
back on it, it's like, oh yeah, no, I guess that makes sense that we did that. Uh, I don't. That does feel like one of those things where that's kind of like a handoff thing, where it's like, oh, here's this new character I'm going to create. He's going to, help them out at the end, and then Kirkman, you do whatever you want
You
with that.
you deal with him.
Yeah, exactly. No, I like the whole thing where Cliff Jumper has his clan, and he's got like parts of their souls, but not all of any of them, and he merges them all into one person. I thought that was neat.
Well, again, it just adds an extra level of interest with the identity stuff that we've been dealing with the
Hmm.
whole book. Like it is cool to put several sparks together and they create this new character, and then he remembers like bits and pieces of their lives, and it's sort of like symbiotes on steroids. It's like yeah, if you had several of those, but then you don't have a pre-existing character to merge with. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's like putting a bunch of different bits of code that don't go together and then creating this new character. And so I wonder if we'll explore him down the line and actually like let him grow and become something interesting. Because that is an
Mhm.
idea there in the first place is neat.
Yeah, because I feel like with what that character is here, he's more of a plot device, both like you said in the Deus Ex Machina thing, but also he exists to further Cliffjumper's character arc,
Right.
and then but him as a person can kind of just be handled by Kirkman. Like it kind of feels like that, where it's like here, it's more so important that Cliffjumper, creates this person, and it's this big important like, oh, this is a rallying point for us here on Cybertron. We have this new warrior that can really help us unite all of the broken rebels across Cybertron, and we can, take the fight back. And then Cliffjumper like immediately sends him to Earth, and gets arrested for treason for that.
Yeah, that was a real surprising bit, and then seemed like the perfect place to leave both him and Alita with like where we've been pushing them throughout this.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, because I feel like Cliffjumper gets less importance in this back half, but what is there is really great. Like when we do cut back to them,
Well,
he just doesn't have as big of a role.
you're right, and I see it exactly the same way structurally as how we're
Mhm.
handling the human characters in this back half too, where they're much
Sure,
more
yeah.
in the background, and it's easy to kind of forget about them for a while. You think about just how much screen time and pathos Carly gets in those first 12 issues, and especially that second arc, and then she's real in the background, but then suddenly Spike and Sparky uh, pay off quite a bit in that last issue, even though the book has kind of sidelined them.
To the point where it almost comes out and says it, where Carly and RC go off on an adventure for Ultra Magnus, and then they come back, or only RC does because Carly gets arrested, but Spike is like, "Hey, are we gonna go work out, like go get Carly back?" And Optimus is like, "Dude, we are so in a bad spot right now, man. I don't have time to deal with that. We're spread way too thin.
Which is funny
We're
because
not
he's
dealing
making
with
so
that."
many decisions to not make Earth worse, and because he is actually compassionate to the humans, and then it's like, what about Carly? And he's like, I don't have time to worry about that.
He's like, "Dude, Megatron is so scary, man. I don't have time to deal with that."
It's also appropriate though that both of those characters are like with Carly and with Cliffjumper are sidelined for a while, and then they both matter again toward the end because they're also uh, that's also like a whole subplot that we lose for a while and come back to. Like they're connected, and she
Mhm,
is Cliffjumper's primary motivation.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then that's going to be the whole Shredhead thing. Is I need you to go back to protect Carly because I'm too small. I can't do it. You can do that way better than I can.
I think Shredhead could have, and I don't know if this is the direction Kirkman would go with him, but with the various sparks that are like put in him, are they all? Do we know for sure that they're all Autobots?
I would think so, but I mean, not necessarily. Like
Because
it could be a mix because
what I
all we
think
know
you
is the Starscream bombed them.
okay, because what I think you do with a character like that is create this inner conflict of he's got a mix of both, and he can see both sides of the conflict. Like that's what I would do
Hmm.
with that. But I don't know. I don't know if he's
That'd be
got sparks
interesting.
of both sides. So
Hmm. You could at least have conflicting, like maybe even if they're all Autobots, like you could still have like more Optimus, more Elita sides.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because so much of this is about like isolationism uh versus expansion, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we have that with both sides, where you have multiple philosophies within both the Autobots and the Decepticons, uh, which speaks to just like individuals can come to their own conclusions on things, and it's refreshing to see that in a thing like this. Uh, and again, it's the thing that's really frustrating to Optimus, because he's frustrated by all the ways in which we're all the same, and all the ways that we can't get along because we're so different.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Which I guess goes into the Ultra Magnus stuff,
Yeah,
where he was on Cybertron being tortured by Shockwave. He gets back, and now he has PTSD. Runs off on his own, and then gets captured by the humans and tortured again. Which is my other favorite shot in this, which is where the helicopters are shining down on him, and he looks up, and it's like the light of the helicopter is Shockwave's eye, and his head is like around it. It's really cool. And it was something I don't even think I picked up on the first read.
yeah, I didn't catch that. I'll look for it as we go through.
Mhm.
As you're saying that, I finally landed on the full page spread where Megatron finally shows up to Starscream, and
Let's see. Oh yeah, that is a great. Well, especially because he's also holding Ravage, because that's right after he's like your stupid tape.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, it's fun how much Megatron comes to appreciate Ravage because he rescues him. Like, you weren't expecting that payoff when Ravage runs off.
Oh, with Laserbeak.
Oh, I'm sorry,
it's
Laserbeak.
The bird one that goes. That's okay.
I thought it was Ravage that did it. Is it Laserbeak?
Yeah, Ravage has been dead since like the beginning.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we killed him. That's right. Look, there's a lot of characters. You should be surprised that I remember any of these names. One thing that I really I've said this before, but it bears repeating, because we're so far into this now. This is 2 years of material, and there's a lot of characters now. And if Johnson had opened this with even half the number that he ends with, he would have lost me immediately. This starts with a real small cast, and he comes up with, pardon me, very believable and what's the word I'm looking for? It's like thoughtful ways to I should say like smart strategic ways to contrive a slow burn of introducing characters, particularly with we've got all these Autobots and I guess Decepticons too that we don't have enough energy to awaken right away, and so as we get more energon and as we find as like different things happen as the story progresses, we keep coming up with reasons to bring more people back. Like he's wrestling with that as a writer from the start, going, there's so many characters. Like, how do we not overwhelm the reader? How do we, as a reimagining, introduce potentially new audiences to this? If anybody, like, here, because he couldn't have known this would happen. There was so much good word of mouth with this book that people read it that weren't Transformers people. Like, I've seen reviews from folks that are like, I'm a casual Transformers person, or I didn't even, like, ever really watch Transformers, but I keep hearing about how this is, like, must-read comic stuff, and I'm a comic reviewer, so I guess I'll try it out. He would have lost those people very quickly if he didn't handle that the way he's handled it. And so, by the time you get to the end, it does read like a standard Transformers book where there's so many characters, but he's been like he's been handling it like vegetables in a colander, right? Where it's just a little bit seeping out more and more as you go along while he's shaking it.
Yeah, exactly. No, and there's definitely a lot of that.
Sorry, I was looking for the perfect metaphor.
You're like I need the perfect food metaphor for this.
I gotta have it. It's very important to me.
Especially when you look at G.I. Joe, where it's like you look at the letters pages, and 50% to sometimes every letter in an issue was just like, yeah, I don't know anything about G.I. Joe, but Transformers was such a good book. I was like, I guess I'll check this out.
Well, I probably will do that now. I don't know jack for anything about G.I. Joe.
Yeah. That's most people reading that book, apparently.
One thing I do,
So yeah, I'm sure that says it
one thing I do
too.
wonder that I'll never know is if
Mhm.
if I would be as if I would find this book as compelling and as easily accessible if I hadn't had the history now with Transformers that I've gotten from the channel with people requesting stuff. Like,
Mhm.
I I don't know that you could appreciate this as well if you hadn't at least seen 86. I do think that's probably required reading or viewing ultimately.
Mhm. Yeah, this book loves 86, and whether it's line callbacks or just visual callbacks, there's a lot of callbacks to 86.
The two things that have helped me penetrate other Transformers stuff the most now is that, and then weirdly the Netflix show, only because I didn't know any background Cybertron stuff for the
Mhm.
longest time, and that is also a reimagining and does its own thing. But there's just like basic mythology stuff I know now. Like I didn't know what the like Sky Bridge was. There's a lot of stuff in that show that helped me
Mhm.
understand the whole of it.
Yeah. One, just like
And
loving
that
other
does do the
things like
Dinobots. Because that show finds ways to just force it all in.
the Dinobots are the best Transformers, though. You got to do the Dinobots. Uh, Even in the movie in '86, they're the best part of that movie.
That's true.
Yeah, I love Grimlock.
Although the Sharkticons are a close second. That design is just boss.
That is true.
Oh, speaking
More
of, I can't
wheelie.
believe I said that. And then I pressed a button, and then the cover for issue 19 came up, and it's just a whole boatload of
A bunch of
Sharkticons.
Sharkticons.
Yeah, which is going to be the
Exactly.
name of Austin's autobiography when he's older.
A whole bunch of
A
Sharkticons.
boatload of Sharkticons. I like
Oh, there you go.
I like the word choice of boatload, given that
Mhm.
they're sharks.
They're the sharks. No, I like that too. Grimlock and a boatload of Sharkticons. That's going to be a mini series that I write.
Dude, I can looking at this art again. I can see why you didn't like it the first time.
Yeah, I don't know. It like really hit me that first time. I was like, "Nope, what is this?" Maybe just I was just confused. It wasn't the same artist. I don't know.
It's kind of too clean.
Yeah, it's very different,
Yeah,
and I think
like
that's just what threw me off.
it's good. You know what's weird about it though? It kind of looks like screenshots taken from some animated show that was never made. Because
I can see that.
this would translate perfectly to like
Mhm.
moving pictures to animation.
100%.
Nicholas Bodo, did you guys read the Cobra Commander special with Megatron? I knew there was a special. I didn't know Megatron showed up in it.
I'm not sure which one you mean. There's like the Energon special that has. I think that's where Megatron breaks out, and he's in the Cobra Commander mini. Because there's like a whole thing where he's stuck in Cobra Wakanda.
Oh,
Uh,
crazy.
but this book doesn't touch any of that. And it's not especially necessary to like understand. Sorry, not especially necessary. If you're just reading this book, you don't really need that information. Like it's not important. But
Do you think it feels like it's being ignored, like it didn't happen, or like it just easily could still happen and it never comes up?
no, I think it's just it doesn't really come up. Like there's no real reason for him to walk up and be like, "Oh my god, I was stuck in this weird Cobra Wakanda. It sucked. Anyways, I'm here now."
One of the reasons 86 is required viewing is I think you just gotta know what Unicron is for this issue. Like, he's talking off panel. And I mean,
Well, I think it's either that or you're like, oh, something crazy's here. Like we don't even get to see it. Because I have heard
that could
fans
work
debate
too.
about oh, what could it be? And I'm like, it's obviously
It's
Unicron.
obviously
Like, that's 100%
Unicron.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
But
What else would they be talking
uh,
to? Oh, well, especially because, again, this is clearly pre-Galvatron.
mhm. Yeah,
Like, there's no way around that. He's gonna come back and make Megatron Galvatron, and he's gonna be like, the first thing I did to you was just the first step in my grand plan for you, Megatron.
yeah. No, or he'll get like really injured, and he's like, I gotta remake you now.
Yeah,
It'll
sure.
be something like that. I guess it just depends on like how close they want to stick to 86 or do their own thing, but
Yeah.
it'll be something like that.
Speaking of remaking characters, though, I thought it was great. I thought this is so in character for Megatron that he finally perfectly fixes Starscream just so that he can bust him up again.
Where he's begging for his life, and he's like, stop embarrassing yourself. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
They
and
put him in,
he
and
puts him in this
rebuilt him.
machine, and he thinks it's gonna be like an electric chair, like a murder machine. He's like, "Oh my god, thank you so much!" And the Megatron's like, "Stop talking so that I can beat your ass."
Now that I've done that, I'm gonna break you.
And then he goes, "I
is pretty
only
great.
kept you alive for one thing: target practice."
Somebody has to hold me.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, that is really funny.
Well, again, it's just a perfect payoff to how terrible of a leader Starscream was earlier.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
it's oddly cathartic for the reader who's, like, horrified by the Starscream treating human beings like action figures bit that I loved so much as like a really twisted character thing for Starscream. Like, to have Megatron come in and, like, give me the pain I wanted to see for Starscream is... I don't even know how to feel about that. and then of course, like, I feel a little bit more sympathetic towards Starscream in knowing that Megatron molded him into that, only to then wreck him like that. But he's still the guy that, like, called humans squishies, and that the whole book I've been seeing as the actual other side of Optimus, with his philosophy of the, strongest are the only people that matter, and if you're weak, you should just be crushed underfoot.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. When you really get that in the first two issues, in 13 and 14 here, where he's been remade by these people and he just manipulates them, and there's like the whole thing where they put bombs inside of him so he can't betray them, and then he convinces them to take them out, and he's like, yeah, if you take these bombs out of me, I'll let you live, and then just crushes them.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah,
And the leader
it's
general
great.
guy is like, "Oh my god, what have you done? Like, obviously we're all gonna die now." That
Yeah,
woman was very
idiot.
naive.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't understand
No.
how the Suicide Squad works at all.
No, she would take the bombs out of Deadshot and then immediately be shot.
Because that was just straight up Suicide Squad.
Mhm.
They tried to
Yeah,
do
that's true.
Suicide Squad with Starscream. Had you not thought about that? That's what that was.
No, that's true. You're right. That could have been like, yeah, a whole other thing that we could have done.
Can you imagine if we did it
That'll
with
be the
multiple
next strike.
Transformers?
Yeah, we do the Suicide Squad team. That'd be great.
Well, and
Uh,
real quick, back to what I was saying about Megatron and Starscream, because Megatron comes in and he has Kind of a similar philosophy with Starscream, of course, and like the Decepticons in general. Like, compassion is for the weak. Family is for weaklings. But I guess the big difference between them is again that he's not as driven by his emotions. I guess is supposed to be the big difference between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a little bit more like stern. He's made of sterner stuff.
which is a line in this.
Okay. Oh, it's a line in '86. It's one of the callbacks.
Yeah, that comes up here.
Because we always do this when Optimus and Megatron fight, where we just take all their dialogue from that scene in '86.
Yes, but it feels very earned here.
Oh, I'm not even complaining. Like, it's just one of those things where every Optimus and Megatron fight lives in the shadow of the '86 one, and yeah, I've got no issue with that. It's fine. We always have to do one shall stand, one shall fall, and things like that.
Well, there's so many gigantic battles in this, obviously, because it's a war epic, that it would be really easy for them to get tedious and for them to ramp up to the point where you can't outdo them. And I worried about that with the first arc, because when you get that fight where Optimus loses his arm, I'm like, where else do you go? Like, and he'd already done the energy axe and all of that. And now his fight with Megatron here is really good.
When I have that, especially, I think it's an issue 2. So I think maybe the same issue that he loses his arm. You get stuff like Starscream where he claps the guy that sets up G.I. Joe, the pilot, and it squishes in his hand. Where it's like, oh, that's crazy! I can't believe we did that. That's pretty violent. And it gets me really hard in the last issue where Optimus and Megatron are fighting, and there's a little kid and a family in a car, and they're like, whoa, look at that, and Megatron just crushes them. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Well, and I guess it's important to have that scene because it would be really easy to see Starscream as scarier than Megatron in this, to be fair. Because of the way, he's gone around and smushed human beings himself. And so that bit where I did not see this coming, I never thought Johnson would go this far, but giving us the mirror to Optimus with Megatron digging up the deer grave.
I did not expect the deer thing to come back. When that happened in the issue, I was like, wow.
I couldn't even believe it.
That's nuts. And then he crushes it and throws it away.
Yeah.
No, and I love that bit where he pulls it up and he's like, this is just a monument to his weakness. He's come in and here's this thing that has no value, nothing meaningful, and he's dug a little monument for it. This is exactly why he's beneath me.
That's what I was trying to say earlier that I didn't quite articulate is Starscream would also agree that compassion is for is weakness, and he kind of says that in the earlier arcs, I guess. But the difference is Megatron knows how to exploit that, and Starscream is so a one-dimensional thinker that Starscream is thinking more weakness is weakness, and Megatron is thinking if you care about people, then it's obviously easy to exploit that, and so anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but
I mean, yeah, it's, not that he's like fully one dimensional, but it is just Starscream's like one dimensional crazy man. While Megatron is more
Well, more one-dimensional strategy, I guess, is what I'm saying. Is like he's got no vision.
yeah,
Is Megatron's
he's
whole
just a
thing.
psycho. He'll just shoot people for no reason. Where Megatron doesn't really have that.
Yeah, like if Starscream found the deer in the grave, he would think it was really funny that Optimus like cared enough about that to do that, and then he would also like wreck it like Megatron does. But the difference is, this is what it is. The difference is Megatron is disgusted by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a personal insult and like part of why their planet's fallen.
Yeah, exactly. And Starscream is much more concerned about like being looked at like a god, and that's why Megatron, like, he's still ultimately probably scarier than Starscream. Like Starscream's kind of more of just a sadist, and Megatron still cares about his people and thinks that he's doing the right thing for them, and so he's Alita on steroids, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, very true. But yeah, just the fact that paid off in any way like this, and it wasn't just a moment for that second issue. I was really shocked.
Yeah. Well, and I saw that as like the most important moment in that first arc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Because it perfectly like distills Optimus's philosophy and worldview, and so to do that with Megatron is really smart.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, it was the perfect way to go. These last 6 issues do such a good job of just picking things like that, and finally bringing them full circle. Even if it's just like, oh, the Autobots have been helping people throughout this book. Now we're gonna have a moment where they all come to say their possible goodbyes. Now that we think that Optimus is dead or about to die, and we do a lot of stuff like that too. Like, it really does feel like he's tying a lot of his stuff in a bow, even if there is stuff that he's handing off. He's passing the baton.
I can I tell you the thing I don't like about Shredhead?
Yeah, go for it.
Just that name.
That's fair.
Because
It's kind of generic.
Well, my problem with it is I don't want to be like reminded of Ninja Turtles every time that character shows up. Like, it's weird to take a nickname for a villain of another show not too far away from this time period that got more popular than it, and then make that the name of a transformer. It's weird. Like
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I
yeah,
guess
the
that is
Turtles
weird.
call Shredder Shredhead every episode of 87, like every time he shows up. And so like
Mhm.
that's very strange reading Transformers and seeing that name come up.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That is weird.
Like the next time if they ever do another Ninja Turtles Transformers crossover, Shredhead has to show up. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Whoa, that guy's Shredhead too." Whoa.
Well, no, what'll happen is he'll show up, and for whatever reason, they'll also give him that nickname, and then he'll be like, "No, that's just my name." You're like, "Hey, Shredhead," and they'll be
No,
like, "How did you know? How did you know my name?"
no, his nickname will be the Shredder. They'll be like, "Yo, Shredder, what's up?"
And then we'll have Super Shredhead.
That, or they'll call him what I always call the Michael Bay Shredder, which is Shredatron.
Shredatron.
Yeah, he's like the giant robot Shredder in that movie.
Perfect.
Like, yeah, it's Shredatron.
I thought it was a really nice like kind of epic moment when yeah kind of tragic moment when Optimus has all of his friends shoot his arm off.
Yeah. Especially because they're like, oh, we love Optimus. Let's blow his arm off and keep shooting until it's fully gone.
Like
It's a pretty brutal moment,
it's
especially when
weird.
they then think he's gonna die.
Yeah, it's so weird. I all the inventive ways that Optimus keeps getting beat all the hell in this book. Because like I was talking with the first art about how there's a risk that Johnson's taking in having, the big mentor character get just like eviscerated constantly. Like he just gets his ass handed to him every other issue. Uh,
He gets impaled too at one point in the last issue.
yeah, well, he's in the worst shape he's in at the last issue. Well, and I also think it's funny. Like we talked about this, I think the last video with the series about how we already had a fake out where they tried to make you think he was going to die, and they do it like 3 times.
No, it's so good. Where he's on the table and they're like, "Is he gonna die?" And Wheeljack's like, "Yes." And I think it's Jazz in the background's like, we're doing this again.
It's really funny. And then
Yeah.
and then he gets impaled on a pyre on a giant spike in the last issue, and you're like, boy, we know this is a character that is supposed to die at some point. This book will never let that happen.
What's also really funny, I just had this thought right now, but he's all messed up, like his arm's all damaged. He's just been impaled and like pulled the pipe out of his stomach. Next issue, he's gonna be pristine Dan Mora art. He looks the cleanest he's ever looked.
I hope when Dan Mora, I'm half joking when I say this, but I'm hoping when
Yeah.
he does Combiner Transformers, because boy does this book like the Combiners. Like I didn't
Well, they
even.
love combiners.
I feel like I've rarely seen that in what little Transformer stuff I've looked at outside of because 86
Devastator.
does it with Devastator, right?
Yeah, so everybody knows Devastator. Like, Devastator's the big one. Bruticus gets a really big role in War for Cybertron, so if you're gonna know a second one, it might be that, just because of that game. Or because G1, because he's the second one. But outside of that, it's all just like, but we do the first 3 in here, where it's Devastator, Bruticus, and Superior, yeah, the Autobot one.
I only found that name easy to remember because that's the Superman stand-in in the Amazon Tick show.
Oh, for
So
sure.
it was really easy to remember that. But with Mora doing it, I kind of want to see him draw it because one of the things he's really known for with Power Rangers is taking Zords and actually showing the combination to Megazord. Because it's really easy to just show the Zords and then like cut to Megazord. And I think like the first time he did it, he had all these like boxes inside of boxes where you see the individual forms change. It was really cool. And so I kind of want to see him do that with the Combiners, where he does it like the Megazord. You get to see like at least a couple of shifts. Where you see like what pieces move to get into other pieces. I hope he does that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Make it happen, Dan Moore. I'm sure. Watch it just be in like issue 26.
Yeah,
I haven't read it yet. So.
Yeah. It's sitting on my desk, and here, I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna see if he does it there. I think it's right here.
Oh, do you have 26?
I do. It was a small week last week, and I went ahead and bought it. I was on the fence about continuing for sure past 25 like right away, and if I can work it in, I'm going to, because I'm like, I own every piece of art Dan Mora ever did for Power Rangers.
Yeah.
and he's drawn Transformers, and he did all that great Megazord art and stuff, and like it's hard for me not to want the art.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Is part of it. Like, I would rather collect Dan Mora on Transformers as part of my Power Rangers collection than current Power Rangers. That's how much I don't care about that anymore. Hurts my feelings. God, this is pretty.
Yeah, 25 is really pretty. It's really nice seeing more on it.
I am spoiling stuff right now, but
You're like, oh my god, the Dinobots are here.
I wish. That is not here. No, there's no combiners like Megazords in this. I'm sorry to say.
It's coming. It's coming.
But there is a really angry Alita just screaming Earth. That's pretty great.
Oh, interesting. There's none of that in 25, so I assumed maybe we would like leave them out for an arc, but
I shouldn't have spoiled that. I'm sorry. She's back.
It's all good.
A dinosaur story. She's back. Dinobot story.
Exactly.
Captain Coon says it was partly due to Hasbro not wanting to do combiners for a long time. I didn't know that. Then did an entire line when everyone was a combiner 10 years ago, and now they're willing to do combiners again.
Oh yeah, there was like a whole combiner line. I remember that. No, I mean the combiners are part of that. Like each show goes on long enough that we get real gimmicky. And then the combiner's like part of that, where it's like new combiner, new combiner, new combiner, headmasters. Like it's part of that where it's like you got to like up the ante of your toy line.
One of the reasons that I want to collect all these in singles also is just every single cover is good, and it's one of the few series where I'm never tempted by variants.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me.
Like, this series shouldn't have variants. Why would you want anything but the A cover? Like, he's drawing them. And then the new ones are Mora. So why would you want anything but the A cover?
I have no idea. No, and this has one of my favorite covers of this run, which is Ultra Magnus holding up the flag for 23.
That's what I'm looking at right now. That's really great. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
You just gotta love how far Optimus has come. Apparently in 2 issues, where like in 24 he's devastated, and he's slumped over. And in pain, and then here's just decking a guy out.
Take my fist, scum.
Exactly. Pile driver.
That's a wrestling move that Johnson didn't fit in. There's like one of the only ones. He gets so many wrestling moves into these action scenes.
And sounds like it should be a Transformer. How is there not a pile driver?
There probably is. There's
there's
a ton that they were making by the end. I'm sure a pile driver exists somewhere.
Backbreaker.
There's one that I'd forgotten about that I
cage
saw
match
today, where there is a Peacemaker Transformer.
Oh, really?
Like, we're running out of ideas.
Peacemaker.
That just sounds like King Shark when he pulls out the explosive. But yeah.
Captain Coon, the only variant I have is an issue 1 variant because it was for my local con last year that had Peter Cullen and Frank Welker attending. I'm not sure what the people attending the con have to do with what the art on the cover you wanted to buy is, though.
Well, I think he was just saying because it's like they're Transformers-y, so he's like, they
okay.
were also there.
Oh, fair enough.
That
makes sense.
You got your Optimus and Megatron there.
I see. Yeah, that does make sense. Austin.
Yeah, when I went to.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
good.
I was gonna say when I went to Comic-Con this year for a day, they had like a big we got a big Optimus panel, and it was like all the other ones besides Peter Cullen, which I'm not saying is like boo them, but it was just kind of funny where it's like here's the other Optimuses, the ones that don't get as much love but are still great.
Well, and they would have to just spend the entire time going like, "We know we're not Peter Cullen, and we're all trying to do his voice." Like,
Yeah, you guys are cool too. You guys don't get the love, but uh, you're cool.
we're already almost at 2 hours, so we should wrap up here pretty soon. But I want to pick your brain about the last issue. Before that,
Yes.
I just want to mention something that I'm surprised we haven't brought up before, although I noticed it a lot more in this back 12, which is the consistent use of the automatopoeia words that Johnson has come up with the for what transforming sounds like.
Oh yeah, the kiku.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. Because every time you see that, it's like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr." And I showed that to Mikey, my 7-year-old, who, by the way, bought the first trade with his own money. We went to a yard sale with a guy that was just selling some recent comics, and he sold Mikey that trade for $10. And Mikey's a big Transformers fan, and he just adored it. And he yeah, I was worried some of this might be like a little violent and subject matter might be a little adult for him, but he didn't seem to have any trouble with it, and he loves Transformers too much. I was like, I'm gonna risk it. And anyway,
he's like, Dad, look, Starscream just squished this guy. It's so cool.
I know. I'm a terrible father, but we were in the car today, and I was reading that last issue, and I saw the onomatopoeia words again, and I showed that to Mikey. With no context, didn't explain it to him, and immediately he got what that was. Like immediately he got, oh, that's the sounds they make when they transform, and he thought that was so cool. He was like, oh, he wrote it on the page, like he wrote that. He was like, that's so cool.
That's awesome. Well, somebody earlier said 'cause you had the page where Astro Train, I think, smashes into Soundwave and just says "choo choo" above him.
That's one of my favorite bits. Yeah, Astro Train in general is just really fun.
Yeah, no, and it's really sad when he gets like obliterated, but he is really cool.
So, would you explain this last issue to me?
Yes.
Let me just get in here with the art. Yeah, one of the best transformations that happens in the whole 24 issues is Optimus going into truck mode across the page and slamming Megatron toward the beginning of that last issue. So freaking cool.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
I have no insight there. I just wanted to mention that it's
Well, they're fighting
cool.
in yellow. They're fighting in a Mark Bagley '90s Marvel comic background.
That is true. That's a good point. But yeah, like I love, like I said earlier, like all the thematic payoff with this. I love the sadistic choice. It's a real messed up kind of sadistic choice. But then, Starscream looks up, and he's got the Megatron gun, and ostensibly he's supposed to kill, I think, the humans first.
Mm-hmm.
And Megatron says, like, okay, he won't make the choice, so go ahead and kill them first, but we're going to kill them both. And Starscream says, with pleasure, so he's not, or something like that, so he's not even conflicted, like, I don't want to do it, but, like, I'm being forced to do it. And then he looks up in the sky, and then I don't actually know what I'm looking at.
Okay, so, because I was a little bit more confused on my initial reading, and then reading it a second time, I was like, okay, I get what's going on now. So that's Omega Supreme, and in his
What's that
past, mean? That's who that character is. He's awesome. He's just, I don't know, he transforms into a giant ship, But
Yeah, but why is he seeing that?
so when you go back to his
Is
origin,
that him just flashing back to that origin?
no, which is what I wasn't sure about the
Okay.
first time.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry,
no, it's
listen.
okay. So yeah, in his origin story, they see Omega Supreme's leaving Cybertron. He's going out, and Starscream's like, "I want him to see me," so he does this big explosion, and then it makes Omega Supreme turn, and he
Right.
waves. Starscream waves.
I
So he
remember that. I
leaves.
just didn't know the name of that character.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Well, it doesn't even come up. I think they just say the ancients or something.
That's right.
And they say that he left Cybertron and has just been floating out in space for like hundreds and hundreds of years since this time. Like he's never come back. And they're like, I wonder if we'll ever see the ancients again, if they'll ever come back. So him floating over there is just, and it is convenient. Don't get me wrong, but he's flying over Earth in that moment, and Starscream sees him, and they see each other again because he looks down and the entire city's been exploded, and it's a callback to his origin, and then that's what makes him go like kind of remember who he was.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that then. Because
it's definitely, yeah.
well, I mean, I have a couple gigantic questions with it. First of all, so you're saying literally that character is flying over Earth right then? It's not just him remembering that?
No, I think it's supposed to be just he's actually there, and I got it this time more because there's a couple moments here and there where we reference that he just disappeared into space and never came back. So I was like, oh, that's literally supposed to be what's happening.
Okay, this
there.
seems more than convenient, though. Like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
next level
is.
convenient. Not just because, like, it's that exact moment when Starscream needs some kind of motivation to not do this, but also, you're going to have that seconds before a Deus Ex Machina happens. What I thought was maybe happening was that he looks up and that's the exact moment, and it's still a little convenient just that it all happens at once, but that would be the exact moment that Shredhead shows up, and Shredhead somehow reminds him of that guy, and that's why he does that. Mm-hmm. But you're saying that's not what it is. The other thing is, I don't understand how that could break him out of Megatron's hold on him.
I think it's maybe just enough of like a pause, because it does kind of play like that where it's like he kind of stops and has like a moment where he's almost like disconnected. But I
mean, it'd be different if he just hesitated, but like the fact that he like says his original name and all of that there, mm-hmm. I'm not really sure I buy that would do that. Like that he could break out of Megatron's influence. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely easy. Like of the stuff in that last issue, that is the stuff I'm more conflicted on.
Oh,
like
you're right, because then we see.
Because Optimus reacts to it.
Then we see that giant transformer. Say the name again. I just can't remember.
Oh, Omega Supreme.
Thank you. Flying away from the tower with the big purple light. Mm-hmm. This won't mean anything to you, but he looks just with how super bulky he is and the shape of him. He looks like Pyramidas from Zeo. That's Gold Ranger's carrier Zord. Like, it looks a lot like that. Like, if you put that in gold, it's just Pyramidas.
Oh, he's the final boss of the Decepticon campaign in War for Cybertron, so you get to kill him in that.
Oh, crazy. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to kill him. He reminds me of the Zord of my favorite Power Ranger. I don't want to kill him.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. So if you don't like that Power Ranger, then you get to go fight him.
No, that's Gold Ranger. That's this tattoo, dude. Like,
oh,
No, that's my guy.
Oh no.
No, Pure Midas is awesome. Pure Midas
So
is
if
the.
you also saw this, it would break you out of being mind controlled, or like mind
It
control.
would.
It's not exactly that, but it
No,
was it.
there is a major distinction because at first I thought
Yeah.
that's what was going on. You're right. It's just a hold that he has over you. Where like you have to do what he says, but you're not even in a trance. Like it's like you just can't help but you can't control uh, your actions against what he's telling you to do, but you don't lose your personality or anything.
Yeah, to the point where when we first see Starscream do it, he's like turning away, where he's like, "Oh no."
That's that's right.
Yeah. And that scene is like directly out of Pirates 2, where they have a bunch of Autobots tied up, and he's like, "You guys survived our attack. Join me, and you can be in my crew." And they say no, and then he just slaughters them.
Well, that was really the big question I had about that. And then,
Mhm.
like I said, initially I didn't understand why the virus went away.
Oh yeah, that more so is like that gets cleared out in 23. That's like that whole inner journey with Sparky
Yeah.
that clears that out.
Okay. That that makes more sense now.
hmm but no, the Starscream thing in the last issue is I just don't fully know how to feel. I liked it a little bit better this time because I was picking up on some of those pieces that were setting it up, but at the same time, like it is very easy.
That
And
feels
then
pretty
Megatron just blows his face off.
feels pretty 5 minute wrap up.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
And the book's too good for that. There's nothing else like it.
hmm No, reading it month to month, because like obviously I remembered that in the Starscream issue, but it was very just like, whoa, like what? That came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Exactly. So
We just got ancient Transformers flying around. They're just up there, just flying around.
he's just looking for a good place. He's like a dog. He's circling around until he finds the right spot to sit down
Well, that's
in.
what I was gonna say. It would have been really funny if, in order to make that seem less contrived, we built to it by in a couple of places just showing him like doing laps around the Earth. Where like he's just in orbit. I don't know why,
He's just hanging
but it's
out.
fine. I don't know why he's here now. Like,
Yeah. No, I don't know why exactly he's here now. I think it worked better for me just with them talking about like, oh, well, he's got to be out there somewhere, and like, will we ever see him? I just like the fact that they were talking about it a little bit more made me go, or sorry, I shouldn't say a little bit more because it was always there, but now that I knew that that's what it was building to, like, it worked a little bit better because I'm like, okay, there is a little bit of connective tissue, but it is definitely.
yeah, it's just the timing with that and Shredhead.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's way too much for me to
No, that's very fair.
hand wave. Because like, as a gimme, I because the Shredhead thing is already like really tropey Deus Ex Machina stuff.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
Like again, it helps that we saw that established, so like we knew he was coming at some point. And so Johnson did his due diligence there, but the timing's convenient. I mean, he could have shown up seconds before, seconds after, and then you're telling me that happens exactly when we need it to, and then ancient Transformer flying over exactly when we need that to happen. Come on now.
Optimus needs to be like, what is going on? This is all gobbledygook from my perspective.
Well, he would look at it as providence, right? He'd be like, the universe is on our side. And I would almost bet you money Kirkman comes back at some point and gives some kind of cosmic explanation for it. because
Oh,
that
I guarantee they're gonna do something big with not Ultra Magnus, Omega Supreme.
because
That's
that
yeah.
strikes me, and we can't give Johnson credit for it because he's out. This was all he wanted to do. So I doubt very seriously if he knows why that is happening when that is happening. But
That's a he passed the baton, but that one specifically he threw up in the air and was like, "Catch that one."
catch it, I dare you. That's not the kind of convenience or loose end Kirkman typically has.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Like, I think like Johnson is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I would have thought he was above this sort of thing. I don't see Kirkman doing that.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine, like you said, well, they'll probably build something off of that, but just here, yeah.
Well, the point I'm making is, I think now that Kirkman is writing this book and he's continuing the story, that would be a scritch, an itch he would have to scratch. Like I feel like that would drive him crazy, where he'd be like, "We have the most convenient thing anybody's ever seen in a comic book. I have to explain this." Like, and overall, I
Yeah, for
love
sure.
this. That doesn't wreck it. But now that you've explained
It's just a
it,
weird moment.
it's worse though.
Hmm. No, it's weird.
Because I kept looking at it every which way where I was like, is that somehow the backside of Shredhead? Like, surely not. And then I was like, was he just remembering a thing that we're getting in a 2-page spread, but it's just a memory? Like, all right. It never crossed my mind that that was actually that character flying over right then.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's officially the biggest problem with the whole book,
With the whole run,
with
yeah.
all of it. But
Maybe Kirkman will take that, and it'll be the most amazing thing ever, and it'll retroactively work.
maybe
But
so.
who knows?
It is amazing to me though how well all the ideas are paid off. Like in
Mhm.
an issue that does something that contrived, that I'm satisfied with the story overall.
Yeah, yeah. Because, like I said, I think he pays off pretty much everything really well, and like, I really like how he ends the Ultra Magnus PTSD thing, where he gets out of the government torture
Oh yeah,
and talks to that those scientists that talks about how he was tortured in war, and they have like a little moment about, like, how do you get past that.
yeah. Because what little I've seen with Ultra Magnus, he's always treated as like a really reverential figure.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, right from the get-go, he's kind of just, here's other Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
like,
exactly.
I was surprised to see him in such a vulnerable spot when we first see him. I mean, I think even in the Netflix show, he's imprisoned when we first see him, but like he's in such bad shape here. Uh, and I love my favorite thing with him is the wood fortress.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Wood Fortress is really cool.
And I love how immediately he is defensive about it, where he's like, "I just needed a way to uh, you know, defend myself." And I'm like, "You made a whole fortress, dude."
With, like, spikes coming out of the ground to
Oh,
stab
yeah,
people.
yeah. No, it looks like the Fortress of Solitude made out of wood.
And then it immediately gets blown up.
Yeah, they don't do
It's
anything
made
with
out
it.
of wood.
Well, I expected it to be set on fire. It's all wood.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, anyway, we're over 2 hours somehow. But look, it's 12 issues. There's a lot
Yeah.
here. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to read, but there's a lot in it.
Yeah, and I think he's really good at, once you read it all together, it's like, oh, it's just like continuing. But month to month, I'm never like, why is this so slow? Or like, there's not enough character bits or not enough action. Like it's all handled really well month to month and just ongoing, I think.
Yeah, it's just really efficiently told.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it does feel like kind of a paradox, where like usually if a comic reads that fast, especially if you're buying it at full price month to month, you're like, oh, that's it, and like that's not the experience I have. It's more of a time vortex where you're like, well, I thought I was reading that longer than I was reading that. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like there's always plenty there. And out of 24 issues, I don't think you ever have one that's like that's just a filler issue. That's kind of throwaway. Like I think every issue uh, is forwarding story in some way and has some exciting action. Like it's very cartoon show that way. Like
Hmm.
like modern cartoon show in that way,
Hmm.
where it knows the bits it has to, the beats it has to hit, but it also doesn't feel too formulaic, where the story is just oriented around the action beats.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing it has in common with Space Ghost, is that's what Space Ghost does every issue. Except those take like half an hour to read.
Yeah, and I think the big thing that this and G.I. Joe do really well are just having characters that are more sophisticated, and especially with the villains, like they're more sophisticated, but we also don't lose that they're Saturday morning cartoon villains, and like so you still have some of that baked into their identity.
Yeah.
It's a real weird balancing act.
Well, and I keep hesitating because I keep wanting to, talk about this on the level of, like, I don't know, really smart storytelling for adults, because it
Hmm.
reads like that. Like I don't know. I say fresh a lot, but like it doesn't just read fresh. Like there's a lot of stuff here that we've seen a million times, but something about the way he's approaching it uh, makes me noodle this stuff in kind of new ways. But then, like you said, it's also still the Saturday morning thing all at the same time.
No, because you can talk about like the interesting like kind of philosophy with Megatron, like you said, but then also when you boil it down to like its basest aspect, like he is just kind of Saturday cartoon man coming in being like, "Ooh, I'm gonna beat the hero." So like it does manage both.
Well, and if you think about it, 86 to a lesser degree also kind of did that, where like it's pushing envelopes for uh, what you can do with the real, sorry, it's getting late, with the real basic like formulaic good versus evil, the good guy always wins, and it's all about teamwork thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
But what that movie does is it keeps demonstrating uh, why the Autobots will always come on top. Like it isn't just arbitrarily we've decided there. I talked about this when I wrote about it because I did a science fiction rewind on it years ago, and I said the whole movie, it's this dysfunctional, with the Decepticons, it's this dysfunctional family of people that don't want to be in the same room together, and every one of them is vying for dominance. And that's a house that can't stand. That's like Mirror Universe Star Trek, where the way you become the captain is by killing the captain. And if that's what everybody wants to do, it's Highlander. There can only be one. What's going to happen? And so it's a very simple idea that speaks to a deep and disturbing human truth. And like that's why that works in that movie. That's what elevates it a little bit above just a standard silly story for kids. And so like the point of it is a lesson at the end of an episode,
Hmm.
but it's
Yeah, because
driving.
86 manages to be an actual story and movie while
Yeah,
also being the throw out the old toy line, introduce new toy line at the same time. It's it's crazy.
And that's what this does, where it is driving at something that's kind of uh, I don't know, like timeless and
Yeah.
inherent to the human condition.
Also, we might have complained about this in the first two reviews. I don't remember. Hasbro, what are you doing? Why is there no line of these comics on toy shelves?
Sorry, you broke up there for a second. Why is there?
Oh, why is there no toy line
Yeah,
for these books? Like, Hasbro, what are you doing?
no, because Marvel Legends would have already had figures tied specifically to this book with new prints of the issues on the cards.
Yeah.
Like, where is that?
How is there no Optimus with the Megatron arm that has like the first issue in his toy box or something? Like, it's crazy.
And there's
What are
plenty
you
of
doing,
precedent
Hasbro?
for Hasbro doing. I say plenty. I can think of some. For their doing stuff based on comics.
Mhm.
Like they did a line, or not like not a bunch, but they did a couple of figures based on the Transformers Back to the Future crossover. Like they did the car and they did the clock. So like they've done things that started in comics before.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. No, with how big, this comic caught on, like, I guess they were just kind of caught flat-footed. But like
Well, I can see why they didn't
at this
expect it, but
point,
it's been 2 years.
yeah, like at this point there should be a toy line announced. Like
Yeah.
even if they weren't expecting it, they weren't ready, like they should have announced it at like SDCC, like, yeah, we got it's a little late, but we got the toy line coming in.
Well, even if they didn't do a whole line, it's just kind of surprising that there's not at least like a couple of token figures from this.
Mm,
You'd think
yeah.
like, I mean, I know he comes late in this, so maybe you'll see an announcement for this not too long from now. But you think at least Shredhead, he's a brand new character. That like just now exists. Like it would be lame if that's all we got. I get that, but it's the one made up character they have. If nothing else, they should make that.
Yeah, exactly. Deus Ex Machina Omega Supreme figure. Make it happen.
Yeah, yeah. Now I won't buy him unless they do a 2-pack with Shredder. Uh,
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't buy that either, but
No, no, now you have
now
to.
I have to. Oh, now we have to pretend like Shredhead is my favorite Transformer.
So, but I don't know. That's my soapbox rant.
They already killed
Give me G.I.
Shockwave.
Joe and Transformers and Void Rivals toys.
Void Rivals toys would be great. Yeah, Shockwave is the coolest Transformers design. They've already killed him, so
Yeah, that is true. He
he's
is my
dead.
favorite Decepticon. And he is the only Transformer on the greatest Transformers cover of all time, which is the Marvel issue 5, the Transformers are all dead
Oh,
cover.
yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm sure he'll come back at some point. I hope.
I gotta go back and look at that. I thought 5 was the one that has Spider-Man in it.
No, that's issue 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This stuff does have me wanting to go back and reread that because it's been a long time.
Well,
And
they
they're in
just
new compendiums.
they just put out those gigantic compendiums. They're
Yep.
cool. I'm thinking about getting the first one for Mikey. That's a bunch of issues, man. And the
Yeah, I think it's 50.
and the covers are really reasonable.
Mhm.
Like that came out priced at I think 60, and it's already been on sale on Amazon a few times.
Well, I was talking to Hayden Spring about it earlier today, and he was telling me that they're down to, I think, 30 on Amazon now.
Oh, that's
Uh,
that's so cool.
so,
That's a lot of bang
yeah.
for your buck. Now it's probably just newsprint, but who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And see, I like that because that's how it was originally printed. So like I want it to look like
Yeah,
it's on the paper that it was originally on. Like I like newsprint.
it's more authentic.
I don't know how long it holds up, but I like it.
My only thing with those is that it's like you're holding a book that's like this big. But I do want to get those. I probably will go for the GI Joe ones first, just because I like the Marvel GI Joe more. But I would like to get all of it.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Well, I've never read the Marvel Transformers stuff. You know, as you know, I'm not a giant Transformers guy, so
It's
like
really weird.
I don't have to have that, but Mikey would love it, I'm sure. So I'm gonna get that for him
Yeah.
at some point. Captain Coon, wait, Cap, have you not bought Part Wallop the Turtles fan that is a Transformer? We do have that. Mikey got that for Christmas last year or the year before, just shortly after it came out. I think it was last year, and it's fun. It's really neat. You just gotta be careful not to lose the weapons.
Ah, those damn accessories.
Like all Transformers, it's pricier than it ought to be, but uh, but it's
Sounds
cool.
about right.
Mikey likes it a lot.
That's just toys now.
Yeah, no, that thing was $50.
I want to know how expensive those like actual robot ones are that like transform on their own, because I'm sure they're like insane expensive.
No, no, not too bad. You're just talking about like the RC ones,
I guess so. Yeah. Are they
cause
not like crazy?
no, cause I so Mikey's got the Optimus that so it has a remote control and you can drive it around in both forms. Then you just press a button and it immediately transforms. And yeah, those came out I think originally at 60, and then they went on sale a lot. Like
Oh,
they
okay.
couldn't move them. It didn't look
Ah.
like, which is kind of sad. But yeah, Mikey loves his. Mikey's weird because he loves Transformers, but until recently he was only collecting Optimuses. You know, like every kind of Optimus he could get. I wasn't sure if he knew the names of other Transformers for a while. Like he just wanted He has like 10 or 12 Optimus Prime toys of like various guys. He's got. Have I shown you this?
Got
He's
a whole
got.
team.
Yeah, he's got the stuffed animal that transforms. Have you seen this?
No.
Where
This
it's
stuffed animal that transforms?
yeah, that's an Optimus Prime. It's awesome. Where
Weird.
it's one of those that's what am I trying to say? It's like interchangeable where you turn it inside out, and when you turn it,
Okay.
and so it's a truck, and then when you turn it inside out, then it's the robot. And they made a Bumblebee one too, but we just have the Optimus. I I'll pull that out and show it to you. I thought I sent you pictures of it when we bought it. Maybe I didn't.
Maybe you did, and I just don't remember. But that's funny.
He still sleeps with
Mike,
that thing. He loves that toy, man.
Mikey gets to be part of a new generation that grows up on this book that's like Bumblebee.
No, that's great. I just hope that he doesn't come back too quick.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested because in Kirkman's letter, I think he's like, "Oh, Bumblebee's my favorite." So I'm like, "Yeah, he's definitely coming back." But we'll see.
Nicholas Bodo, hey Cap, you should get Freddy to collect Megatron toys. Now that's a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll just have a. It's the new Cybertron war, just a whole league of Optimus Primes and a whole league of Megatrons.
They're not even all Transformers that transform. Some of them are stuffed animals. Some of them are remote control cars.
Exactly.
Some of them are Blockies models. Mikey's gotten into those.
The Casey Kasem narrator's like, on the world of Cybertron, there are two groups, Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Well, anyway, that really contrived ending notwithstanding, this remains the best thing in comics in a decade.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And that means something coming from me, because I typically don't care that much about Transformers.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm really excited to get to 26. I'm gonna read that tomorrow for the comic show. So
Cool.
that'll be
I
cool.
will try to catch up and do that because I'm caught up now, so I can read 25 and then that, and we can talk about it together. And then I'll probably
Hmm.
just keep reading along. That's the other reason that I'll probably keep buying these is that now I'm caught up. So eventually I'll go back and get the rest of these, but I want the Mora covers.
They are really nice. That 25 cover is beautiful.
It is. It makes me happy. I. But it's funny that so many of them lately have been Optimus covers.
Oh yeah, he's such just a big part of this book. Like he's so just the main character. So I guess it makes sense.
It's nice that I like him this time. That is not always a foregone conclusion.
I'm just waiting though when they bring in the Dinobots and we get the big Dinobot cover.
Oh yeah, no that'll
'Cause
be great.
that's definitely coming.
Well, and he's got to do the what am I trying to say? Uh, what are the animal ones?
Oh, Beast Wars.
Yeah, he's
Like
got to do
that?
something with that at some point.
I wonder if they'll do anything with that. Yeah, because Beast Wars technically is in continuity with G1. It's just that it takes place at a different time.
Yeah. Well, they found a way to work it into that Netflix show. That was only 3 seasons.
And the new movie, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That seems like a staple thing now.
mhm. People love Beast Wars. So
You know, that's one thing that Mikey doesn't have yet for his Optimus collection is he does not have an Optimus Primal.
oh, okay.
So we gotta remedy that at some point.
You can probably still get them just from off that last movie. I would think there's probably still Primal toys like on Amazon or something.
Yeah, there's a like outlet store nearby here that has a bunch of Beast Wars figures. They must have done a line at some point
Yeah,
more
that
recently.
makes sense.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't for that movie; it was just a Beast Wars line. Like at first glance, it looks like it's from that show, but that show's like 30 years old. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure they've done uh like new lines for it.
well, anyway, we've stretched this forever, so I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to try to come back tomorrow night if I can stay awake for our regular comic show. So look forward to that. Appreciate you guys. Austin, thanks for picking this again. And thanks for catching me up on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no worries.
You know,
And we somehow. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
real quick. Sorry, I meant to say this earlier. I got a couple issues into our reading today and realized that I had actually read like the next 4 issues
Oh.
before. Like I had already
Yeah.
read the Starscream background stuff and had completely forgotten that I had. Because the last time we read, I was enjoying it so much. When we finished, I just sat down and read the next few issues. I totally forgot that I did that.
Yeah, I remembered you did 13. I didn't realize you read that far.
I didn't either, but as I went, I kept going. No, I've read this part too.
Oh, that's funny. We
Anyway.
also somehow did this entire review without ever going cliff jumper.
I know. And I got 2 hours in and I felt really remiss on that. That's why I started
There you go.
making
There's
up
the
things
title.
that weren't Transformers and saying those in that voice. It's the whole reason I did that.
Pacemaker.
Anyway, thanks for
Good
watching,
night,
everybody. We'll see you soon. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin, the Day Ghost.
See ya.
Bye, folks.